No Further Information, a podcast for cops and celebrity chefs. Both groups now have the same number of tattoos and hair buns. This episode is for cops. Today's guest was calling me from a Kool-Aid can. Actually, I think a Kool-Aid can would have had better reception. He's a cop in goddamn China, so it's our first remote interview. Bear with me on the audio quality. His reception sucked, so the first few minutes sounded like ass. I eventually had to hold the antenna a certain way and lift my left leg up. Is anyone here old enough to have had to do that for the family television? The reception would be shitty, so you had to hold the antenna a certain way until the signal panned out. Then your parents would yell at you, "Don't move!" You had to stand there for like 30 minutes during the episode, trying to peek and watch too. They'd yell at you, "You're fucking it up, hold your leg back up." Why wasn't that child abuse? Anyway, my guest and I have never met in person, but I swear to Christ we're twins separated at birth. The epitome of do your fucking job, and a deputy sheriff who breaks the mold. My biggest complaint about him? He can't keep it in his pants. Let's listen to Deputy Bob doing big things in the middle of nowhere.
Hey, I'm Deputy Bob. I am a police officer for a sheriff's office in a small agricultural community in South Texas.
That's why we're doing this over the phone. You're going to be our first remote guest, because you ain't, as pretty as my face is, you ain't going to drive up here fucking, 7 goddamn hours just to talk to my ass, right?
I thought about it, but the wife said no.
And we've been trying to get this done for a while, but some good news is in order. You weren't able to because you had a new arrival in the family, right?
Once too many margaritas on mariachi night. 9 months later, we're parents.
And not your. I yelled at you because you told me this ain't your first. So I was like, man, you ain't learned the first time, like the first couple times.
Bad things happen when you drink.
And is it difficult? Juggling family, the job.
No, not really. Luckily, we have a great boss and very family oriented. We're able to do a lot of things that we can take care of for the family while we're on duty, or we're able to hear a couple. That's probably the biggest help.
Yeah, I noticed your department, checking out the social media, and it's a real close, tight-knit group, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And you did mention that you're a deputy, so your boss is an elected sheriff, but it seems like he works well with all his guys and gals.
Oh, yeah. And it's funny. Every night that we work, the two most important questions for any cop is where's breakfast and where's lunch.
Right.
Yeah, the first thing we do when we go on duty is, hey, come to the office, let's eat dinner and see what we're gonna do for the day.
How long have you been on the job?
Man, I've been in law enforcement since 2005, and I've been with my current agency coming up on 12, going on 13 years, I believe. Were
you always a patrol deputy?
I originally started out in corrections, and I got to say, I think that's an important part of the job, because while I was there and waiting to get on the streets, I was, kind of doing my homework, studying these guys. Like, this guy came from here, he's good for burglaries of a vehicle. This guy is here, and, he's a good wife beater. This guy's here, he's good for drugs. So, I don't want to say stereotype, but you got a good feeling on how to profile people just by talking to them and seeing them and looking at them.
Well, that's key to the job, and it's definitely a skill that you lack when you're fucking 5 minutes on the job, and it's a skill lacking today with these young guys, which is people skills, right? Being able to negotiate your way out of a fucking jam or talk someone down with your most powerful weapon, which is your mouth.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's funny. I got one of my buddies, and he's always, we're like brothers. We really are. We just always talk shit to each other. And he's like, man, you know what? You always start shit. I'm like, why? He's like, every time we work together, we got to fight somebody. I was like, hey, dude, do you ever pay attention to the radio? Yeah, why? Like, I don't ever have to fight anybody until you show up on my calls. He's like, oh. Well, yeah, I guess.
So do you think it is? Is it a chicken or a chicken or the egg thing where, are you starting the fights or is he starting the fights or are you just going to fights with, kind of potential for violence kind of thing?
I think when we show up, like we both want to play bad cop, and it conflicts with each other. So we actually got in a fight with a guy one time, and I am going to town. I'm arm barring this guy. I'm like, I got this guy. Like, I'm fixing to break his arm. Something's going to happen. Like, he needs to lit up. And he's like, hey, dude, that's me. I'm like, oh, well, get your arm out of the way.
So you're in a scuffle, and then you're arm barring your buddy's arm.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm lynching on it. I'm like, this guy's going to give me, he's going to comply any second, and he's not. He's just not having it. He's still going, and I'm like, wait a minute. Hey, dude, that's me. My bad. I'll get those handcuffs from you later.
Are you? You said agricultural, kind of. Are you by the border?
We are considered like District 3. I'm not sure if you're familiar how DPS classifies all the guys. Like,
yes,
District 3 is like the southern area.
Right. Right.
We're probably 2.5, 3 hours away from the border.
Yeah, so you're South Texas. You get a lot of mess down there. You guys stay pretty busy out there, don't you?
Man, we do. Every Friday night, southbound traffic going to the border is busy, and every Sunday, coming back about noon till 6 o'clock in the evening, northbound is busy.
And are you getting that border traffic? Do you get the border messes that you got to clean up?
Luckily for us, we haven't had too many bailouts or anything like that here lately. Of course, everybody in the South wants to have an interdiction. They are just stopping the ever-living crap out of these guys.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, it's to the point where like everybody's fighting for table scraps.
As far as cops?
Yes. Everybody's looking for the next car, like, okay, hey, well, if there's intel that, there might be a look coming this day, and everybody's just watching cars, looking for signs of behavior, busted taillights, like that would be the car I would transport dope in. That'd be the car I'd be smuggling people in. And, I mean, we're just trying to get anything, because everybody out there is grabbing something.
So the name of the game is dope, right? That's what everybody wants?
I mean, they can have the dope. I'm trying to find a money load.
Yeah, tell me about that. I mean, why do you want money instead of dope?
We can take the dope off the streets all day long, and that's fine. That's great. But kind of with everything in life, you can write a guy a ticket every day. You can give him a warning. You can chew his ass for speeding. But until you hit him in the pocketbook, they're not going to take it serious. I got another warning. Hey, man, next time I stop you, you ain't going to kill. He's not going to stop. He's going to give me another warning. But you start hitting him ticket in the pocketbook, whoa, maybe I better slow down. That cost me $100 this time. That cost me $200 this time. Now it's up to $3. We start taking that money out of their pockets. We're never going to stop it, but we can move it out of our area.
And before, I don't want to use the word cartels as a generalization. I mean, what percentage? If I said, oh well, the cartels. I mean, would I be wrong in making that assumption? I'm
going to say no, because at some point it's all going to tie back to them.
Even stuff in our state is usually going to trace.
It's like William Shakespeare said, but by what definition is a name?
Right.
You can call it a cartel, organized crime, mafia, whatever you want to call it. It's
OC.
It's a business structure.
And I've heard that, it's my understanding that the mafia or the cartels, they account for a loss, certain person. They know they're going to lose this much dope. They know they're going to lose this amount of a particular shipment that's coming up through Dallas or through Houston.
Oh, most definitely. You'll hear a lot of cops, and you hear it on TV. And TV, oh, we got a suicide load. They're purposely sending stuff out. Hey, check it out. Look at this. We got this. They don't care about that. That's their form of tax write-off.
And
you guys are chasing this one. We're over here.
But when you hit them with the cash, that's are these are going to be southbound vehicles? Am I wrong thinking that?
Well, typically, yes.
This is the cash coming back in.
Yeah. Most of the time, they're sending their product in. They want their return coming back. I don't think we've ever seen anything go northbound, but
yeah, and that they're going to be fucking pissed off about.
Oh yeah.
What's the biggest cash haul you've gotten?
Man, me personally, I have yet to get a big money load, but I'm still hopeful for two reasons. One, it's really cool. Number two, I made a bet with my chief deputy. I'm like, man, if I ever get a money load, I want a Raptor. He's like, if you get a money load, cover a Raptor, we'll get you.
That's the goal to get your Raptor?
Yeah. When you see me changing my profile picture on Facebook to having a Raptor for a patrol vehicle, you'll know. I'm not going to say it, but there will be signs.
Oh, I'm pretty sure there will be signs. What's the biggest money load you participated in?
My buddy got one. I think it was probably like
$8,000. How did you?
It wasn't huge.
Yeah, how do you find that?
Hey, he stops everybody. He really does. And it's funny because we would go back and forth and argue. Look for the signs, or how are you profiling these cars? Well, it's just like fishing. If you keep throwing a line out there enough, eventually you're going to catch that winner.
So for him, it was a little bit of luck of the draw.
Mm-hmm.
So he stops the car for some bullshit. Now, I got to imagine, how is he getting into the car? Because the person transporting the cash doesn't have dope, so there's no PC. How are we getting into the car?
My buddy is great. He and I, just for shits and giggles, everybody hates these spam calls. He and I will sit there and talk to them. Like, we get bored and we just love talking to people. The longest scam call we ever talked to was about 30 minutes. We just had a blast with it. And it's just, we get our kicks off doing it. And it's no different talking to people in their cars, just having a conversation with them. Take out that persona of being, I am the law, to, hey, I'm a guy, this is a cool car, where you going? Oh, man, I've never been there. What's there to do there? Eventually, you hear enough stories, you can pick and choose when they're lying, and you can lead them to answer questions that they're not going to answer right. Oh, no kidding. Hey, my buddy's parents are man. What do you think about this place? Oh, you don't like the fish there? Well, that's great, because it's a Mexican restaurant, not a seafood restaurant. And you can just catch them on little lies, and that's when you get the deception, and now you know where to start digging more. That and just behavioral issues.
Body language.
They don't want to look you in the eye. They keep turning away, fidgeting with their hands, can't sit still.
My forte is DWIs, which I'd love to get into with you later on. But I told my DWI students and my rookies in field training, when you go up and you talk to somebody, and you kind of hit on this, the whole thing with like, I'm the law and I'm Billy fucking badass. The way to get to it is, I'm the dumbest fucking cop alive. This is my first fucking day on the job. I don't even know what a marijuana cigarette is. I'm just asking, hey, bud.
Absolutely. We were talking with a couple of trooper buddies of mine, and they're like, oh, man, we got to go to court on DWIs. And, it's a blessing that we have an agreement that DPS will work they'll help out and assist. And they used to love taking them for us because they love the stats, but they'll come out and help us as much as we want with our DWIs. Thank God they work our crashes. Mm-hmm. But, they're talking about this and that. Man, I got to go to court on this. Dude, I've never been to court on any of my DWIs. Are you serious? I'm like, yeah. Why not? I just talked to them, and And I remember when I first moved down to the southern area, we had a guy calling a reckless driver, and he happened to be CID for DPS. And we were talking. He's like, man, let me help you out with this. And he's just having a conversation with this guy. Man, on a scale of 1 to 10, like 1, you're lame. You can't even get a girl's phone number. 10, you're the life of the party. Like, everybody wants to be with you. Where are you at? Man, I'm a 10. I'm all fucked up. All right. And I was like, holy cow. He's like, man, don't be a cop. Be a friend. Ask them how the party's going. They'll talk to you, tell you everything. And it is crazy how well that works.
And it's an art.
Oh, it is. It is. And you know, some attorneys are going to argue, well, you know, my client was what? Your client was what? Too drunk to realize he was admitting he was drunk?
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
And it's even if you made the argument that, oh, it's deception. Well, how am I deceiving this person? I'm just talking.
Mm-hmm.
I find it very interesting because I don't have a fantastic impression of SOs just in my time, 15 years on the job. I don't have a fantastic impression of SOs. I guess because, I don't know, man, I found them to be very rigid and stoic, and they have the best gun holster, and they have 15 mags, and but the depth, and you know exactly what I'm talking about. But the deputies I worked with, the best, homegrown boys and girls, talk to people, relate, rationalize. Okay, well, you know, if you're gonna do that, then why don't you do this? Just turn around and put your hands behind your back and listen. You know, there's so much to be said for dropping the fucking act, dropping the beards and tattoos, and you know.
Absolutely.
You know, when we talk, so what was, when you, okay, so you're talking to the guy, you're figuring out, you're getting the body language, and what, he just says, yeah, I have $8,000 cash in my center console, or how does that work?
But he was telling my buddy, and he's like, oh, well, you know, I'm going here for there. Oh, okay, cool. Well, how long are you going to be there? We're going to be there for a week. And he's like, man, that's cool, but where are your bags at? Oh, well, no, I'm just going to go buy stuff there.
Right.
Well, if you're going to stay there a week, that's a lot of stuff to buy. Oh, well, I got a little bit of money. Oh, okay. You got like $50? Well, no. And it just my buddy is awesome at it, just talking to those people. And it's not in a condescending way, but he kind of talks down to you like, oh, okay, well, you probably don't have enough money to buy nice clothes. Well, no, I got money to buy nice clothes.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it'd take at least $2 or $3 grand. Well, look, man, I got $8,000 plus this, and you know, whenever my buddy does that, he's already seen something that he wants. He's already got his interest on something else on the back, and you know, a little bit of paraphernalia goes a long way to PC search stuff. And then some of these guys are so confident that they're not going to find it. It's right there in their front. They're not going to see it, and it's there.
And what does the person end up getting charged with?
Oh, shoot. I don't even remember what we had. We ended up seizing the money. He got arrested for, God, what was it?
So they get arrested for something, but then you Article 59 the cash because you can articulate by a preponderance of the evidence that it's a proceed or an instrumentality of criminal activity under 59.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he ended up having that, some other stuff.
So he did have dope, or he did have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He had some with him, and it trips me out because once we get him there, and of course we're in separate units, we have our own units. He's like, man, this guy was telling me everything on the way there. He's like, man, you guys already got me. You know, they don't care. We'll be back on the road tomorrow, and that's why I say, you know, it's getting the drugs off the street. Man, that's great. It looks awesome. It's a great photo opportunity.
On the Facebook profile, yeah, where they line up the 7 baggies, you know.
You know, hey, I have 12 acorns on my desk. Sorry.
I'm laughing because, and I know I cut you off, but I'm laughing because I used to scream about DWIs, and I'd say, Nobody gives a fuck about DWIs. That we don't celebrate DWI officers, right? We'll throw up the deputy from Left Elbow who busted the young black kid with a fucking joint, right? Keeping the streets safe, but we don't give a shit about the stuff that matters. So, it's nice to hear you say, like, drugs are, it's good, but we want to we want to be methodical. We want to hit them where it hurts.
And I went to a class in a county more southern of us, and when I got done with that class, I was mad.
Why?
I was truly upset because their DA and their county attorney were the ones that taught this class, and I'm like, man, they are so willing to work together, but yet we get a case, we're fighting tooth and nail. Hey, if you guys don't have this case turned in 10 days, we turn the case in on time. You forgot to cross the T and dot the I. We're just going to ENF this. Do not file. Their county attorney, their district attorney is like, hey, man, if you get a guy that runs from you on a motorcycle, as long as you can make the license plate out, we're going to go seize that bike.
Oh, man.
Because now it's an instrument of crime.
Yeah.
Hey, if you get a guy for DWI and he's got 4 PIs, we're going to seize that vehicle because he's a habitual offender with alcohol.
Yes, absolutely.
Why are we going to wait till this guy kills somebody before we get him off the street? No, he's got 4 PIs and 1 DW. No, we're taking everything. We're going to enhance that. And it's awesome because they're willing to go above and beyond to persecute this, for lack of a better term, for preventive maintenance. They're being proactive about it. Why are we going to be reactive, wait till somebody dies before we do something?
And that's the disconnect with law enforcement, right? We can write speeding summonses all fucking day. What we really need to be doing is hitting the problem where it hurts.
Absolutely. It just, it's not even a matter of man, if you see somebody, I hate the fact that I'm waiting to develop PC. Look, if you see a guy swerve enough, well, they said that go do a welfare check on this guy. Why are you going to wait for him to kill someone?
Oh my God.
Before you make contact with him.
Please, guest, I need you to scream it from the fucking mountaintops. Cops don't understand their burdens of proof. It's like Academy 101. Well, I didn't see a PC violation. Okay, he's weaving within his lanes. All 4 windows are open. It's 20 fucking degrees. His head is sticking out the window, and he has his hazard lights on. Is that not fucking reasonable suspicion? And they sit there and they're like, well, can I or should I? Or you're a fucking cop. Investigate.
Yeah, and people will tell you, well, what if I get something and it's fruit of the poisonous tree? No, look, in good faith, stop to check their welfare. Yeah. This guy is drunk.
Fruits of the poisonous tree is a doctrine based on bad faith. Bad faith. Wong Sun v. U.S. For anybody who's curious of what we're talking about. People say fruits of a poisonous. It's based on bad faith. If you have a good faith stop that's articulable and you can, and what is the definition of reasonable suspicion, right? You ask cops, they're like, if you can articulate facts and circumstances that would lead a reasonable person to believe that criminal activity is afoot, make the fucking stop.
And in a more recent event, we got a bolo for a murder suspect. And there was another agency, hey, I see the car. Okay, cool. And I know everybody in the area. The record drivers are calling me, hey, this guy is going northbound. Okay, hey, he just passed up this truck stop. Okay, I hear this other agency. Okay, I'm right behind him. Okay, he's turning left here. Awesome, I'm right behind you. Okay, we're going down this county road. Awesome. Did he just turn in the truck stop? Well, yeah, I was waiting on PC. I'm like, why are you
fucking kidding me?
It's a bolo for a murder suspect. So what do? I'm turning around. Well, I'll let me know when you get PC. I don't need PC. I'm lighting him up. What are we waiting for? And everybody's like, man, what did you do? What do you mean? How did you stop him? Turned my fucking lights on and he pulled over. These are things that drive me crazy. And I don't know if they're not paying attention in the academy or they're telling them something different in the academy. Or one thing I've noticed in law enforcement is I love social media, but I hate it. It's ruined so many things. It's ruined so many lives, careers. People are scared to do their job because, oh, man, they've got a camera there. Who cares? You do your job right? Awesome. They just showed the world that you're doing your job right.
by and large, the public, I will be the first to say, yeah, cops aren't popular, but by and large, the public understands, if you can articulate it, the public understands we're getting an actual bad person, like a murder suspect, or a child molester, or a habitual DWI. The public understand, and when you talk about social media, I think it speaks to a bigger point about cops. It's the dumb fucking cop myths. And the dumb cop myths, the origin of the dumb cop myths that has pervaded the field arises from the lack of empirical evidence. You, my guest, smart, understands the law, knows what you do, knows what you have to do, and then applies it. But then you have these dumb cop myths, right, spread among these old fucking farts. It distills down to the trainees, and then the trainees go and spread that bullshit where they're like, oh, I need PC. Do you fucking know what reasonable suspicion is? And I think that's where it comes from, right? The social media, the dumb cop myths, I saw this thing online about this other cop who had his case, they always love to say it. They go, the case was thrown out. No, that's not how the court works, right? It's, did they decline to prosecute? Was it a motion to suppress? Was it was it a no bill via the grand jury? So cops do this thing where we generalize, right? Like, oh man, you need PC, or would you stop him for it? No, he's a fucking murder suspect. You're a fucking bolo. That's available to all of us.
Yeah. It wasn't a secret.
Right, exactly. Right. It wasn't based on some CI's, tip or something. Yeah.
Hey, Officer Bob, don't tell the next agency, but that guy in front of you, he's wanted for murder.
Okay.
But don't say anything.
Okay.
I mean,
can I tell my wife? Yeah. So it's that dumb cop. It's the dumb cop myth that has pervaded the profession, and it's like, did you forget everything you fucking learned in the academy? Because I know they taught this shit in the academy.
Yeah, the way some of these people are coming out, sometimes I question if they are. They're just
without besmirching my. So full disclosure, a lot of my listeners don't know. I'm still I have a foot in the door in the field of instruction for law enforcement. And, we try to do our best, we really do at my institution. But, you find, okay, so think about this, guest. Think about this, all right? Generationally speaking, all right, here you go. All right, you ready? So you have old farts who are working the streets, they're in the 80s and the 90s. They're on the job for 30 years. What happens towards the end of your career? You're not on fucking patrol. All right. Then you retire. Then you know what? I'm bored. I can either work security or I can go teach at the academy. Okay. I'm going to go teach at the academy, and I'm teaching with 1997 standards. Yeah, you're an instructor. You're supposed to be up to date. So now they're teaching their 1997 application. So what do they say? Well, they say, all right, well, the book says, but in actuality, you know what I'm saying? Like they're doing that. Then the poor student goes, well, I guess I need PC. Then they come to your agency where they're put in training, and you're like, who the fuck, And so there's this weird bridge disconnect where I wish, the answer to a lot of this stuff is standardization, right? Like, we're supposed to have the Texas Commission on Law Enforcement setting standards, but who's checking the instructors? Who's checking these in-service dudes? And how about this? Back to your earlier point, guest. Who's checking the DAs? Because why is the fucking DA's office from right elbow county not on the same page as the DA from left elbow county?
And I was hoping it would come up, and you kind of hit on it there with, what do you do when you retire? You go teach the academy. Well, for us, we got a substantial pay raise. And I say substantial, but it brought us up to where we need to be. So you got all these guys who are like, I'm just going to retire. And
is it because you're doing all those Ford Raptor seizures? Is that why?
Oh God, I wish. I only have 13 more traffic stops.
That's how people think it works, right? You get
Yeah, yeah.
you get a bonus for every summons you write. You make you make 13 cents on the dollar.
We get a portion of each fine into our retirement system.
Yeah, each thank you for your generous donation. 100% of the proceeds go towards cops in need of trucks.com, you know, like
Start playing Sarah McLachlan, for just pennies a day.
for there you go. In the arms of Hi, I'm Officer Bob. Every day, dozens of cops in the state go throughout their lives without a truck, and then they show cops in like a Hyundai Elantra, you know.
They show you the New York ones in a smart car.
Yeah, they show the chief like going to his job in the Prius, like all sad, you know, and for the simple price of a school zone speeding summons, right? And then it shows you and your Raptor like driving over the Prius.
Oh, that would be awesome. We need to get into making commercials.
Yeah, we do. You know, our own sketch show. That's what needs to happen. There's your retirement gig. But yeah, so going back to, I took you off your point, right? So cops who get into teaching, and then your pay raises. Go on.
Well, for us, we get a lot of guys that have already been retired on duty. Man, I got 2 years, and we get a good raise. Well, you know what? Maybe I'm gonna stick around for a little bit. And now they're even more retired on duty. And I love some of these guys to death, but the most dangerous day in their career is when they get the fuck you letter. And I explained this to somebody, and they said, well, what's a fuck you letter? That's the letter that they get in from TCDRA, the Texas County District Retirement Systems.
Yep.
That says, hey, you're eligible to retire. You don't have to work. And that's their fuck you letter. Because at any given point, you piss them off, you know what, fuck you, I retire. But instead of doing that, well, I'm making easy money. I don't have to answer calls. I don't have to do this. I can take my time getting there. I can bullshit my way through this report. Fuck it. And because they've got 25, 30 years, 35 years of experience, command staff is like, man, these guys got a lot of experience. They can teach somebody great. But at this point in their career, they're already burnt out. All they're doing is teaching bad habits.
Familiarity breeds contempt.
Yes. Yeah, and I saw an inspirational poster one day, and it wasn't very inspirational, but it said, the worst phrase you can ever hear is, it's always been done that way.
Oh, my God. Thank you.
And unfortunately, almost every SO has that phrase, hey, why don't you go do this? We've been doing that for years. We've always done it that way, or that's the way we teach it here. And when I first got into law enforcement, I had a lieutenant who was amazing. And I just turned 21, and I knew a lot about boats. So I grew up on boats, loved speedboats, worked on them, basically lived my life on the water. I got into a Marine unit, and that lieutenant was the only one that was like, yeah, we'll give you a chance. After I bugged him for 6 months, every day straight, calling the office. So finally I got his personal number and called him every day until he said, fine, we can come for a ride along. But once I got out there, he's like, man, you're pretty sharp. But, most kids your age don't know what's going on, and they don't know how to do this and that. But for the first 3 years being attached with that Marine unit, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. You're just some punk-ass kid.
Right.
And I was having to prove myself every day and argue what I knew was factual with him every day. And he and I went and got coffee one day. He says, a lot of people hate to see young blood come in because they don't know any better. But if you can teach me how to open my eyes and see something differently, and I can teach you how to see something from my point of view, now we can both work on the same problem and come up with a solution easier. And man, if there's something I know, I'm going to teach you the best way I know. If there's something you know, please tell me, because it might make my job easier. It may do something that's going to streamline it, or if you hit shift and F1, it's going to finish your report in 2 seconds. Hey, cool, I'm all about that. But you get these people that are so shut in and tied in their ways that they're going to take twice as long, put in 3 times the effort, and go through way more headaches because they're just closed-minded. Yeah, and they don't want to learn a different way.
The phrase, we've always done it that way, or that's just the way we've always done it, implies 3 things. Number 1, it implies that you have nothing left to learn, which couldn't be further from the truth. You should be learning something, if not every day, every shift. You should be learning something every single fucking week about this job because there's so much to learn. The second thing it implies is that you don't want to have to go through the effort of learning something new. So like you said, right? If Control Z is undo and Control XCV is cut, copy, paste, that's too much for you. Even though it'll make your life easier, you don't want to go through. So it really boils down to laziness, really.
Yes. Yeah, and it's funny because I'll go to a call and I'll take the report and I'll tell everybody, I'm like, hey, look, I hate to waste your time. I'll stop you right there. They look at me like, I get paid by the hour. Whether I'm talking to you, watching traffic, or drinking coffee, I make the same paycheck. Make me work for your money. Now, here's your report number. Why this is important. Because I'm here today. Tomorrow, it's going to be this deputy. The next day, it's going to be that deputy.
Right.
Not all deputies are smart. And they're just going to take a report, and it's going to have another number. And they're going to take another report, and it's going to have another number. So you're going to have 3 reports for the same incident that no one's going to connect the dots.
Right.
So this is your number that you tell them, this is my report number for this.
Right.
And you're going to tell them, Deputy Bob gave me this. And they're going to say, that fucking asshole, because now I've got to work.
Yep.
And they're going to do that report. They're going to link it together. And now instead of having 3 small, insufficient cases, you're going to have one case that's a continuing, ongoing issue. And it takes 5 seconds to link this report to that report.
That's it. There's technology that does that for us, or for you. Yeah. The third thing I was going to say, that phrase, this is the way we've always done it. The third thing that it imputes, and I think this is the most nefarious part. And this has been my experience, or was my experience when I was on the job. The most nefarious thing that it imputes is if you say, well, there's a better way to do this. There's a more efficient way. I've streamlined the process, or why don't we try this? Or that's not what the law says. You are now viewed as a dissenter, an agitator, and you will likely be suppressed.
Yes.
You're like you said, right, Bob? You said you're the asshole. Like, fuck. Yeah, okay. You're now the dissenter. You're now the agitator. Why has that not been an issue in your agency? I imagine that has to start from the top.
You know, I love my agency. I really do. And I tolerate a lot of people I work with.
Of course.
And some of them are funny. Some of them are not. But the problem with our agency, is with a lot of agencies, is you start to become top heavy. So you have your structure, your command staff, your administrative staff.
Well, especially with sheriff's offices, especially with county agencies. But Bob, every single one of those people is super experienced and has tons of street knowledge, and they all belong there.
Absolutely, in some way, shape, or form. I have gotten into arguments with every one of my brass
about the double
about anything, and you can ask anybody. I'm not the guy you're going to put in front of a kindergarten class to explain what I do for a living. I'm the guy that you put in a room for people that need to hear the answers that no one wants to say. And that's just the way it is.
Can I?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Let me hear what you got.
I want to expound on that because this was a conversation that came up the other day. When you said I'm not the guy, I've used this expression before, the guy. I'm not the PIO. I'm not the guy you put on your Facebook page. I'm not the guy that you celebrate as this is the shining model of our department. And look at his face and look at his muscles and his chiseled chin. No, I'm the fucking guy who works. I'm the fucking guy who puts people in jail for crimes. I'm the fucking guy who works cases. I'm not the fucking guy. And when you're not the fucking guy, when you're not the guy, When you're not the PIO or the Twittered or the Facebook, I guess X, when you're not that guy, now you're an agitator. If you're not a fucking kiss ass, if you're not a white shirt, if you don't have stripes, and I retired at a high rank, but if you're not the guy, then you're expendable.
Yeah, and it's funny because I've worked for 2 sheriff's offices and 1 PD. And I will tell you, PD is not my cup of tea, and it felt like everything I thought it was from the get-go. It just seemed like their structure was a little different, and to get around, everybody was snitching, tattletaling, stab each other in the back to get out. The 2 sheriff's offices I've worked with, it's like a family. We literally get breakfast together, hang out together, drink together, go to the range together, and call each other funny names and yell at each other's kids. I mean, we literally are a family that works and plays together.
And cops are supposed to be able to do that. Cops are also supposed to be able to disagree. And I come to you and I say, Pop, what the fuck is wrong with you, bro? Like, I'm gonna fucking kick your ass. And we can argue and argue and argue. And I still love you. And I'm gonna be there faster than anyone else if you need help. And when you talk about backstabbing I was a city cop my entire 15 years. I never worked for any other type of agency. And when you talk about the eating together and the family, you know how many police departments I've seen, they're like, we're a family. Bull fucking shit. And anytime somebody said something like that, my fucking spidey senses tingled. You know, what it really boils down to is the ones doing the fucking job, the non-celebrated ones. We're out here side by side, you know, you and your partner, right? You see the visual cues of each other on the stop, right? We're the ones out here fucking getting it done. Those are the cops we should be celebrating.
You know, I'm not the guy, but I'm a guy.
Exactly.
And
you depend on me, the public, you depend on me to be a guy, because I'm not the guy.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I am that guy that I've got chewed out on the phone for an hour. I've gotten written up. I've got days off. I've got suspended. I've gotten awards, and then later on that day, I've got written up. It's just the way it is. And my butt hurt. Nope. I mean, I've been written up and signed write-ups for stuff that I was on vacation. I don't care. It's my paper.
Oh, baby, I'm the IA fucking champ. You know, I'm the fucking Evander Holy fucking field of fucking IAs. And, you know, I finished knowing that I put over 320 DWIs in jail, and I sent multiple people to prison, and I've arrested tons of fucking wife batterers and child abusers, because I'm not the guy. I'm just a guy who does his fucking job. You know, what was that line in The Departed? He's like, you know, who the fuck are you? He's like, I'm the fucking guy who does his job. You must be the other fucking guy. That's how I feel. That's how I feel.
Well, that's how it is. To kind of motivate the guys on our shift, me and one of my supervisors, who is a great guy, and he's just like me. He's an asshole, but he likes to get things done. He keeps us focused. He keeps us on task. But, hey, man, this guy's got 3 more stops than you. Hey, he's got 2 more stops than you. And it was funny because one day I go and I check all our numbers because I'm not going to let these young punk-ass kids get more than me. So I turned 2 guys against each other. I'm like, hey, man, he's got 16 stops. Are you serious? You know, I had 3. Called the other guy. Hey, man, he's got 12. How many do I have, man? You only got 5. Well, the other one didn't count. It was motor assist. That's not a traffic stop. So these guys are just, one makes a stop, the other one makes another stop. And here's a make a stop. Well, now he's making a stop. And so, you know, a little healthy competition goes a long way. And when I was at at that PEB, they could not stand it when we got along, when we had a little healthy competition.
Why is that?
They actually moved us around. Don't know. What? Well, you know, it was funny because we were like, hey, we're 18, y'all are B team. What? Well, why are y'all 18? Because we come first. We're better than y'all. What? Well, yeah. I mean, y'all are old and slow. Like, step your game up. Then we got talked to, well, y'all can't be A and B team. Okay, well, we're team 1, y'all are team 2 because we still come first. No. Let's go colors. Okay, we're Team Blue. You're Team Green. Well, why are you our Team Blue? We're closer to Jesus than y'all. And they couldn't stand it. And it's small, stupid things like that people nitpick. But for us, it was healthy competition, and it was fun.
But you see, when I hear that, that's how we ran our shift, when it was good. And that excites me. That motivates me. Why doesn't that, I'm pointing at this empty chair. Why doesn't that motivate you? Because it motivates us. I'm pointing to you and me now. Like Bob and me, that motivates us. We're going to get out there. We're going to fucking tear it up. Why doesn't that motivate you? Is it because you're lazy? Is it self-effacing? Like we're better fucking cops than you? Because make no mistake, there are qualities of cops, right? If cops could have fucking Uber ratings, you're a fucking -2 stars. You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
like there are ratings of cops, right, Bob?
Oh, well, Tico would come in and be like, well, you can't give a negative rating, so the minimum you can do is 1. Fucking Tico.
Not all fucking cops are built the same.
No, and we've got a guy, he's a great person. He's dumb. We have a lot of those. But this guy, man, I've talked to him. I'm like, hey, man, like, you need to do things better to be a little safer for you and your family. And let's get motivated, man. And he just doesn't get it. And my buddy and him went to the academy. And I'm like, dude, y'all went to the academy together. You're a detective. And he's still just a regular patrolman. And the only difference between him and y'all had the same education, grew up in the same area. You literally went to the same academy class. The only difference is you put in a little bit of work and motivation, and you're making probably 3 times what he's making. I don't care what the job is. If you want me to shovel shit, but it pays $50 an hour, no, yeah, I'm gonna put my rubber boots on and smell like shit the rest of the day.
Right. I don't I don't need, cops have different needs. I don't need what you need. All I need is to be able to lay my head down at night and, put my shield, on the table next to my fucking wallet and, my headphones and know that I earned that motherfucking thing. I don't know about you.
To me, my dad passed away in 2017. And I know I made him proud, but it's when you do things for financial gain and stuff like that, it's a different sense of accomplishment. I don't care how much money I make. It's nice to make it, but I do stupid stuff with money. Like I have to have that one-off vehicle that nobody has, and it's super useless, but it looks cool. I bought a car and it looked awesome in my garage. I never drove it, but once a month everyone was like, "Why do you have it?" I'm like, "It looks cool." But you don't drive it, but it looks cool.
Come look. Yeah.
That's me. That's the stuff I do. But, to me, I was part of an interview board one time back home, and they asked a question, what is your definition of a good police officer? And this guy just hit it on the head. He's like, I can't give you a textbook definition, but at the end of the day, I want to make my mom and dad happy. I want to know in my mind I did right. And I want everyone to be safe. And I was like, holy shit, like that's a great definition. He's not doing it for fame and fortune. He's not doing it to get recognition at work. Hey, at the end of the day, man, I just want to make sure I'm making my parents proud. I'm not getting in any trouble, and everybody goes home safe.
Yeah, when you
that's great. There's some guys that just show up to work, and you're like, man, we were having a better day when we were sick. Go home.
Right. Yeah. Well, they enjoy all the perks of being on the job and this job without actually putting in the work. My thing is, when you lay your fucking head down at night, can you proudly call yourself a cop? And I think the answer for most cops is probably not. I don't think all cops are built the same. And I think that good cops are far and few between. The more and more I went through my career, and then now I'm on the other side of the glass, looking as a civilian with, still my foot in the door. And I'm like, Jesus Christ, there are some bad fucking cops.
Oh yeah. Values are a big thing. And
right.
The bad thing is in law enforcement right now, everybody is short. And what makes it even worse is people are looking for, or agencies are looking for people who are just going to show up every day.
Oh, at this,
and
we
that's
just,
what they're getting.
We just need people to sling calls at this point.
Yeah. And I made the comment to somebody on my command staff, well, we're thinking about hiring this guy. I was like, fuck that. What? I was like, I will cover 3 areas that rather work with this guy.
Right.
Why? I was like, fuck that. It's not worth the trouble. I was like, this guy's going to put me in danger by him just having our uniform on. No. I'd rather cover 2 and 3 areas. I'd rather work short, come in on my days off than have to worry about this person. Okay. And it's sad that we have to get like that, but
right.
At what point do you need to say, look, by hiring this type of person, we're going to endanger everybody else? You get people that can't shoot, that don't know the law, they're hesitant to act, they can't take care of themselves.
No command presence.
You want this guy to back me up.
Right.
And I've told people, I'm like, look, man, I'm not trying to be a dick, but I don't want you at my home. Because if I'm having to fight somebody, I can fight somebody. But if I'm having to fight somebody and you're having to fight somebody and they're whooping your ass, I'm not going to stop and help you until I'm done.
Not only that, it's the appearance to the public, right? This is who's fucking showing up in my time of need, and when we're fighting, you talk about fighting. It's not about size, because I'm fucking out of shape and fat. Okay, I don't remember the last time I ran a mile and a half. So when we talk about fighting and survivability or survival, it's not just about size, because you can hire the biggest lug-headed motherfucker. It's about a mentality. It's about I'm not trying to be like all blue line fucking Punisher skull, but it is about like a warrior spirit, right?
Oh yeah, and, I'm gonna tell you right now, I can't whoop everybody's ass, but you know what? They are not going to forget me when it's done. And
between the two of us, if we gonna fight, like, I'm a win. Like I don't know. You may be bigger than me. You may know jujitsu, fucking whatever the fuck. Fine. Go up right ahead, but when this is over, I will be walking away, whatever that means to you, and that mentality. So it's all part and part. Now I'm gonna bring it back to you, Bob. So okay, so we talk about this is a long one, so stay with me. So these people who get lazy and they lose their ideals and they lose their way, and that's just the way we've always done it. My thing to them is always, is that what you would have fucking said in your oral board? It's funny you brought up the oral board, review process, because you can sit here and say, well, that's just not the way we do it. But remember back 27 years ago, because you old as fuck, but back 27 years ago when you were doing your oral board and they hired you, why do you want to be a police officer, right? Or when they were hiring you for the academy and they did the academy oral board, why do you want to be a police officer? Well, I want to save lives if I can, right? So all that bullshit you were fucking talking about 27 years ago, do you remember that? And so I'm going to bring this all the way back to you and say, you've been doing this for a while. You've been surrounded by shitheads and morons, and you've seen some of the worst of the worst of the worst. Why are you still acting as if? Why are you still doing it the right way? Why is it still important to you? You talked about pride in your father. Why didn't you forget? Because I didn't fucking forget. I wasn't the guy, but I didn't fucking forget. How come you haven't forgotten?
Man, for me, it's, they tell you that you cannot do a selfless act, that anything you do is somehow to give you gratification. And I try to do my job every day as selfless as I can. And it's dumb. I was, the way I think is stupid. If I explain a math problem and how I solve it, you're going to think this guy, he's rocking the tism. But people that have been my mentors in my law enforcement career have told me simple things that have meant the most. I had an administrative sergeant back home, and he said, look, you write them a ticket, you chew their ass, you take them to jail, but you don't do all 3. Pick one, that's it. You don't write somebody a ticket. You don't take them to jail.
Right.
For something that that you do every day. If you speed every day, don't write that guy a speeding ticket. Don't be a hypocrite.
I always said to my rookies, you either slap him or you give him a speech. You never do both. Don't give the guy a fucking summons and then tell him, well, you really need to slow down. Fuck you. You just wrote me a $300 fucking summons. You could take your speech and shove it up your fucking ass. So you either slap him or you give him a speech. You never do both. So I love that. I love what your admin told you.
And then they also told me you need to be firm, fair, and consistent. Mm-hmm. And I was like, that's awesome. But over the course of the years with social media and everything else and people, I learned that really the only thing you need to do is be consistent. If you're consistently an asshole every day and you sit there on the highway in the same spot every day and you pull people over for the same thing every day, eventually you're going to learn, like, that asshole's there. I'm going to find another road to go down. Although it doesn't solve the problem, but now it's not my problem.
Okay, but it should be.
And it's not the best way to think, but is it helping out? Yes, because now that guy's not coming down my road. He's not going to wreck. He's not going to crash out. And maybe I've hit him in the pocketbook enough that maybe he did change.
And it can solve the problem if you think that way. Then B Shift thinks that way, and then I'm your neighboring agency, right? And I'm consistent. And then DPS is consistent. And then this next city over is consistent. And if we get on the same fucking page with how we serve the populace, then maybe the populace will understand, A, we're not out to fuck you. We just want to keep you safe. And B, we truly are here for the thing that we're designed to do, which is serve and protect. So consistency matters. And
absolutely,
and it goes back to, I'm going to, I think you'll love this favorite saying of dumb cops. Here's the favorite saying. You ready? It's just a Class C. Oh, it's just whatever the application means to you, but it's just a Class C. And my thing is, okay, does this mean that we work any less? No, I don't want to. You don't need a 17-page narrative from me on a Class C. I get that, but the standard for prosecution is still the same, beyond a reasonable doubt. The standard for arrest is still the same, probable cause, and the standard for detention, reasonable suspicion, is still the same. So how are we treating this any less lightly than, say, a murder? And so when we talk about consistency, you should be applying the same amount of effort, the same amount of attention, the same amount of observation skills, the same amount of courtesy and respect and professionalism to every fucking thing that you do.
And God damn it, you hit exactly what I think. We had a sergeant, and he says, if somebody's running from me for a Class C, they ran a stop sign, it's not worth it. Let them go. Well, wait a minute. Wait. Not that big of a deal. It's a ticket, and, our agency typically isn't known for, we're going to screw the public by writing everybody a million tickets.
Right.
If you're respectful enough and, hey, I'm sorry, I just had my head up the ass. Hey, here's a warning, don't do it again.
Right.
But this guy's running. It's just a stop sign. It's just a Class C. What if he's got somebody in the trunk murdered? What if he's got somebody hostage? Well, do we really want to gamble that? Yes. If I'm in that trunk and he's going to kill me, I want this guy to get stopped for anything possible. The window tint is 24%. Yes, stop him. Write him a ticket. Get me out of this trunk. The license plate on the dash instead of the front bumper? Yes, stop him. Get me out of this trunk.
I mean, it's
But everybody just blows it off that it's a Class C. It's not worth it. We're not going to mess with it.
Yeah, well, it's investigation, right? And
yes,
and that's what presumably pay us to do. I mean, would you prefer this, or would you rather us just answer the 911 calls, take the report, write 3 summonses a week, and make our 1 caller a month, and then retire 20 years with our gold watch? If that's the cop you want, then I've got good news for you, because 87% of the cops out here, that's what they do. Now, if you want an exceptional police officer, if you want to get your fucking money's worth, I've got just the fucking cop for you. Deputy Bob, or Officer Smith, or Officer Jane, or Officer Sally. These are the cops you want out here. And to reinvigorate that into the sort of hiring / training / admin process, that's a monumental task.
One thing that it tickled me fucking pink is because we were telling guys, hey, man, Y'all need to start doing more stops. Y'all need to make more contacts. And when to get another ticket book, yes, we still have to handwrite them.
Oh my God.
I told you we're a rural farm community, so
Right.
yes, we still handwrite tickets. I grabbed one and I'm looking at the sign out sheet and I'm like, oh shit. Like what? Like, Coach signed one out. What? Coach signed a ticket book out. That's our sheriff.
Uh-huh.
Oh shit. And they look like, oh fuck, he signed a ticket book out.
Yeah.
Like, oh fuck, like, did we motivate him to do traffic stops too? So I'm just fucking with the guys. I took a picture. I'm like, hey, if Coach can make traffic stops, y'all better get the fuck out there and start picking up
Exactly. You lead
the
by
next
example.
fucking day, like, it was crazy. Everybody's working school zones, and you hear him go out and make a traffic stop. Everybody jumped their ass up, and they started working. Like, that's awesome. And it's not like he doesn't work. He comes out and shows up to everything.
Right.
And that's great. But, you know, if you want me to work, well, why can't my chief, my lieutenant, my captain, you know, why can't all the rest of the command staff lead by example?
100%.
If I can come out here and do this, why can't you?
Yeah, you
don't like the way I do this? You show me how you do it.
And that brings us back to open-mindedness, right? Well, that's just the way that's the way we've always. No. Here's a better way, and I'm gonna show you. I used to always say, you know, because I'm an asshole too, Bob. I got accused of that a lot. I always said my way, you know. Hey, you know, Bob. Here, I'll be Sam. Sam, you know, he's an asshole. He wants things perfect. He wants things the way he. No. I have what I believe to be the best approach to this particular scenario. If you would like to educate me on a better, more efficient process that accomplishes the goal, I'm more than open to it. But now you're painted as this asshole, right? Because you're efficient or you're effective or you have an open mind.
Yes.
Are you in your area? It sounds to me like are you doing lots of calls for service? Are there a lot of PDs, or if when it's more rural, there's generally fewer incorporated PDs who respond to jobs? So you guys are taking a lot of them, right?
We have several PDs in our area. We dispatch for a couple of them.
Uh-huh.
But it seems to be like when they know I'm on duty, that's when our crazies come out.
Okay, yeah.
And
so you're having
I actually love them.
Yeah.
You know, you love DWIs. I love our crazy mental health. And the way I explain it is, it's the greatest TV show that you can never watch.
Well, because you're
nobody knows what's going on in their head but them.
Yeah, because you're a talker, so I could see how you'd like going to those.
You know, just like you used to do your DWI. You know, Asian guy comes up. Oh man, let me get somebody to speak Spanish, and you come back in perfect fluent Spanish. Like, it throws them out there. Like that's the kind of things that these people need. And one day we'll meet, and I'll show you my portfolio. Every crazy person that wanted to kill people and do this, that, and the other, that we had to take to a mental facility. On the way there, we do cop car karaoke. We take a lot of selfies when we get to the facility, and they're like, how do you do that? I'm like, we're both a little off our rocker, but together we can rock on the same beat.
And as funny as it all sounds, let's talk about how you got there, right? Which is you de-escalated. No one got hurt. You put the...
Believe it or not. So we had to take a school to get state certified for mental health peace officer.
Yes.
And where I was originally from was a ton of crazy people, and we messed with them, but not in a derogatory way or condescending. You know, we would just talk with them and laugh at their jokes, and they were hilarious. They taught us a bunch of things, and then we taught them something for the first 5 seconds that they remembered it. But in this class, there was a psychiatrist, and she was telling us, well, you can't do this. And I'd raise my hand. Well, no, you absolutely need to do that. Well, no, you don't. And she'd go on, well, you can't play with their delusions. And I raised my hand. I'm like, you absolutely have to play with their delusions. And she says, no, because you're just going to agitate them. I said, okay, you and your husband go to the mall. You want a new Louis Vuitton purse. You're like, babe, look at that purse. Where? That Louis Vuitton. Where? Over there. The one with the D&B? No, that's Dooney and Berg. Where? that brown one over there, the brown Louis Vuitton, the one with the C on it, no, that's Coach. Now, because he's not playing with your delusion, you're getting upset with him because he can't see what you can see. And the same thing for him. You go hunting with him. Oh, babe, look at that deer. Where? Third tree from the right. That squirrel? No, the deer. You know, when you can only see what you can see and you're trying to explain something to someone, you get frustrated because why can't this person see what I see? Why don't you understand?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not saying be like, oh my God, yes, Rocky and Bullwinkle are telling you to murder everybody, but what do you see? Man, I see a pink elephant. I'm kind of colorblind too. He looked blue to me. No, he's pink. Oh man, what's he saying? Can't hear him? What? No, I'm sorry, I'm hard of hearing too. Did he just say you need to wash your dishes? No, he's saying I need to go find the book. Oh, what book? I like to read. You're entertaining a conversation with them. And you're calming them down at the same time. I've actually had a girl that was in jail, and she was just screaming and yelling and ranting on. I gave her a crayon because jail. I'm like, hey, write down what they're telling you. Okay. Gave her a couple pieces of paper, and the next day she gave me like 8 pieces of paper, front and back, scribbled with this, that, the other, and okay, gave her some more paper. And probably 2 or 3 months later, she got out. She's like, hey, I don't know if you remember me. Like, I remember you. Like, I was in a bad place. I was detoxing. I was going through some mad, crazy stuff. Everybody was blowing me off walking by. You're the only one that kind of humored me, gave me a piece of paper so, I could share with what I was going through. And that's it. It's a little bit of effort. Everybody walks by and it's not my job. But if everybody just took and added 5% effort to your day, things would go a lot better. And chances are you wouldn't have to have these repeat customers. And that's just through every aspect of life.
Well, the mental health is so important, and cops are A, not trained to deal with it, and B, they get into this. You've heard, the audience has heard some of my guests like, yeah, man, we're getting more and more calls, and we're trying, and there's only so much we can do, and here you have an officer who actually likes taking these calls, and because is it important to you? Is it important that you make these gaps and bridge these gaps?
It's important, and I've got a rule. The first time is free on me. The second time, I'm taking action regardless of whatever. So, and that's for every call I go to. If I go to your house for loud music, okay, hey, turn it down. If I go back again, somebody's going to jail or somebody's getting a ticket. If I go to a call for mental health, hey, the first time I'm going to talk to you, and, if we don't have to do anything, we don't have to. Second time I go there, similar circumstance. Look, we're either going to go on an EDW, emergency detention warrant, or we're going to get a mental health professional involved in your life. Because I would rather waste my time and your time taking you for a 72-hour hold than to come back and have to work a scene where you murdered your family or yourself or something else.
It's absolutely worth the return on investment.
Yeah. Call it what you will. Preventative laziness, I don't know. But, invest 5% more into your job to get 100 times more return out of it. And then there's so many times like, oh my God, we went to Joe Blow's house again. Okay. Well, then when I get dispatched there, hey, they already came in your house. Let's go. We're going to solve this problem. 5% effort goes so much farther.
When that changed too, where cops used to be problem solvers, but as of late, it seems like maybe less proactivity meets laziness, meets a legitimate fear of, if I do my job, I'm going to be prosecuted, which I don't terribly agree with. With a sprinkling of, that's not really my job. And so you put all those factors together, and now you have the repeat, 20 times CIT call.
I think on day shift, it seems that, hey, admin's here. Let's not stir anything up. Let's kind of fly under the radar. Not that they don't know how to do their job, but they don't want to become YouTube famous. They don't want people complaining on them. Again, I'm the asshole. if you complain on me, number one, they're going to 100% believe whatever you complain on me about because I'm an asshole. Number two, it lets them know, hey, he's out there stopping people and talking to people. That's what he gets paid to do. So, yeah, you know, I don't understand why people are afraid to do their job.
Well, this speaks.
But it seems like it's more so during the daytime, just like for the simple fact that they don't want to get in trouble.
Well, this speaks to the righteous have nothing to fear. Those, and I'm not shit talking day shifters, although I kind of am. You have two day shifters. You have just lazy, retired on duty, fuck. But then you have the other day shifter. Okay, the day shifter says to you, Bob, well, I don't want to stir the pot, admin, YouTube, whatever. Okay, well, how about you put in that 5% effort? Go out there, bridge the gap, make the connection, do your fucking job, and you won't get complained on. Or if you are complained on, it won't be substantiated. And in the end, you will have accomplished your legitimate law enforcement goal. Again, it boils down to effort, laziness. Not all cops are built the same. Do your job and you'll have nothing to fear.
Yeah, and at this point, it almost seems like a lot of cops are just there to collect a paycheck.
Sad.
I've got 8 years and 2 months before I'm eligible to retire. That's a long time. And I'll be honest, when kids are like, I want to be a cop, I'm like, why don't you stay in school and do something that makes more money? And friends will ask me, well, you're not that happy. No, I love my job. Don't get me wrong.
I would shoot myself in the fucking dick if either of my kids said they wanted to be cops or grew up to be cops. Like,
oh yeah, it's nowhere what it used to be. And when adults ask me, hey, I'm thinking about going to the academy, I'm like, hey, but don't be like me. Well, what do you mean? Don't be stuck. Well, I'm too young to retire and I'm too old to start over. Just like, either you're going to do it because you want to, or you're going to do something that you're home, you have a family life, you're not worried about things, you're not stressed out, you're not getting into a career that has an 85% divorce rate. You're at peace. You can sleep without having acid reflux and heartburn and indigestion every night because you're stressed out from work. If that sounds interesting to you, come on aboard. Yeah,
being a cop in 1990 is not the same as it is in 2024.
It's even the way that FTO was conducted is completely different.
Right.
It's just it's a trip. But I've got 8 years and 2 months left. I try to make it as fun and adventurous and as comedic as I can.
You're gonna get your fucking 8 years worth, and you're gonna do some good.
If somebody wants to record me, oh man, my favorite thing to do is turn up the crappiest song I can find on the radio and do the parade wave, because there is no way they're gonna be like, can you believe the guy had the audacity to turn on Baby Shark and parade wave at him?
You got Baby Shark on your favorites on your.
I do.
Yeah.
My favorite thing is I have Christmas songs on my phone. Don't judge me. I love Mariah Carey. But my favorite one is You're a Mean One, Mr. Grant. And, well, you're just an asshole. And I'll go and I'll turn it up and I'll play it loud. Keep the windows down. Like, okay, here you go. Sign in here.
And no one's the wiser because you didn't do anything rude. Now, first of all, before I go on, I don't think an hour and a half, which we're approaching, we're approaching an hour 20, is nearly enough to dig past the surface of Deputy Bob here. So we'll definitely have him back because he's a great guest, and recording remotely makes it a lot easier than having to come up and sit down and talk. So really appreciate
you just didn't want to pay for the chips and salsa. It's okay, I get it.
I have bad news for you. You're gonna fucking pay me to be on this show, all right? No, but as we draw, so we're definitely gonna have you back. But as we draw to the conclusion of this episode, I'd like to hear about what you consider to be the best collar of your career. The one that brought you the most satisfaction, did the most work, hardest work, got the bad guy in the end.
Man, we deal with so many different things. just from day to day.
Mm-hmm.
Probably the one thing that, man, I don't even know where to start.
One that stands out for you. It was a good victim. And I say good, meaning one that you took personally. A child, a suspect that you found who was hiding from you.
I'm going to say I have a good suspect one.
Yeah.
Just because this guy needed it. And not to display or downplay all my victims, but, you know, they all needed us. We all did our job. We gave them what they needed. But this suspect needed it the most. Partner pulled a guy over running a stop sign. This guy is 50 or 8 drunk, known turd, being 100% passive aggressive, but just hostile. Hey man, I need you to go and stay in the vehicle. Don't get hey, I'll get out of the fucking vehicle if I want. No, stay in the vehicle. Well, I tell you what, go ahead and get out of the vehicle. Oh, you know what? Fuck you, I'm gonna stay in the vehicle. Just being that guy.
Right.
So I roll up, and at this time he's pulling his hamburger out of his truck, and my buddy's like, "Hey man, don't eat that. Put that down." And fuck you, I'm hungry. I walk up, I'm like, "Did he tell you to put that fucking hamburger down?" Just as he goes to take a bite, and you just see lettuce explode all in front of my body camera. And then he gets put in handcuffs, and he's like, "That's fucked up." I'm like, "Didn't he tell you to put it down?" And that was the end of that. But he needed it that day. Coincidentally enough, I don't know if he went to prison or not, but I haven't seen him out on the streets for quite some time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. What did he go to jail for?
He went to jail for DWI, but I think he also had a blue warrant.
Oh, good. Good.
Yeah.
What was he on parole for?
I am sure DWI. Habitual guy.
And that story, with the defiant, intoxicated driver is something that I really want our rookies to listen to and share, because I have long said one of my training techniques, I'm going to get nerdy on you, but one of my training techniques in the academy, this is just for new cops, not for in-service, is when we're teaching the 3 phases of DWI detection. You have vehicle in motion, personal contact, and pre-arrest screening. And when we get to each stage, there's a decision to be made, right? Vehicle in motion, should I stop the car? Personal contact, should I get him out of the car? And pre-arrest screening, obviously, should I arrest? Anyway, so when I get to personal contact and should I have the driver exit, I always turn to my students and I go, why do you want me to get out of the car? And of course, what do the students do, right? They freeze up. And I'll point at the student. I go, Officer Smith, why do you want me to get out of the car? Like that, right? And they go, and then I'll pull out my phone and I'll start recording them. And I'm like, we here on Facebook Live, this honky ass motherfucker want me to get out the car. And, his shield number is 123, looking new and shit with his fucking busted ass boots. And I'm just like in their fucking face, right? I'm like, why do you want me to get out of the car? Why you want me to get out of the car? Why? And I'm just going over and I go, and I finally tell these kids and I say, 3 letters, ATM, ask, tell, make. Nothing in the world should prevent you from achieving your legitimate law enforcement purpose. And when you are guided by your investigative skills, your experience, the environment, the circumstances, the righteous have nothing to fear. It goes back to that. You hook them up, get them out of the fucking car, and accomplish your law enforcement objective.
And the new guys, and even some of the guys that have been on for a little bit, they don't realize the more time that these guys are unsecured, whether they're in hand restraints or in the back of the arena, that's more times for more nefarious acts to run through their mind. Hey, can I get away? Hey, can I get this cop? Hey, if I push him down, can I run?
100%.
Can I shoot this cop? Can I stab this cop? It's our safety versus, the safety of everyone else's. And if I got to get you out of the car, you're going in cuffs, you're going in the back of my car until I am done with my investigation. Because I have a handcuff thing that'll take them off just as quick as it put them off.
And you're a talker like me, and I can soft shoe you all day. Yeah, oh really? I like that joint, man. Oh, what's the best there? Tortas? Oh yeah, sometimes I get the fries, but they're a little heavy for me. I can soft shoe you all fucking day. But when I tell you to fucking do a thing, you fucking do it, and you don't do anything I don't tell you to. You know, it's a switch, right? It ain't a dimmer, right? It's a switch.
Oh yeah.
We can go from, you and I can be, you know, the four of us, the five of us, we sitting outside bullshitting in front of the fucking 7-Eleven, and then 5 minutes from now we're going to an active shooter, and I'm holding my buddy in my arms because he's bleeding. So it ain't a dimmer, it's a switch, and these new bloods need to realize that.
Absolutely.
Thanks so much for listening, subscribing, and sharing. Please rate and review the show and follow us on all platforms. You can hear us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube. Our website is nfipodcast.com, YouTube at NFI Podcast, and please reach out to us at podcast@nfipodcast.com. New episodes released weekly or whenever I feel like it. Help us spread the show, tell us what you think, and put a buddy on. I'll see you out there. Stay safe, and remember, do your job.